Everybody, it's Tom here. Welcome back to my channel. So as you saw by the title of the video, I have unfortunately joined the ranks of other YouTube creators that have had fires in their shops. Some of my close friends have already known about this because this occurred a little over a month ago by the time you see this video. This happened on January 9th. So what we'll do is we'll talk about what happened. I will then take you guys down to the shop and we'll do a walkthrough and show you everything, and then at the end of the video just do a quick recap and then show you some still shots basically of the building when it was on fire, when the fire department was here, and lastly the burns that I suffered from the fire. So as will be the format, and as you can see, my wife's next to me and we are up in our living room. So I guess let's just begin. So this happened January 9th. It was Monday. I had basically caught up on all my projects, and as you saw in the last three videos, I did the bracket for the jet lathe, so that was done. And like I said, I nipped up everything and I was like, well, good time to go back and start working on the 66 Belvedere, which you guys have seen in previous videos. Now the rear gas tank had a leak, so I was going to tackle that day. The gas tank is an odd design. It is shaped like a wedge, with the larger part of the gas tank facing the back seat, and then it slowly tapers to the rear bumper. And then what I'll do is I'll add a photo of the gas tank in right here. So as you see, it's kind of odd. They have the filler come in down all the way at the bottom of the gas tank, and that's where it was leaking because there's a grommet, and there's about a 2.5-inch diameter fill tube that goes up to the underside of the fender, where your gas cap comes in. So the grommet is the area that was leaking, and there was only a couple gallons of gas in the tank, so I figured no problem. I've worked on gas tanks before. I've changed fuel pumps, sending units, no big deal. But most gas tanks normally, the fill tube and all that stuff comes in the top of the tank, or at the side, at least 3/4 of the way up or so. When I disconnected the filler hose from inside the fender well, all of a sudden gas started pouring out, which is not normal. But I was like, okay. So I grabbed it and I was trying to direct it into a bucket, because normally you can take it down. There's no gas in the filler tube, and then you just twist it and pour it, what's remaining in the tank into the bucket. And once it's empty, you do what you need to do. Well, this has started pouring out everywhere, and being 2.5-inch diameter, it was really gushing, and I couldn't get it into the bucket very efficiently. So I was like, all right, so let me quickly reconnect it. Well, as I was trying to reconnect it, there was just too much gas that had splashed down onto the ground, because the car was 6 feet up in the air and I was standing underneath it. And of course, gas had gotten down on my arm and splashed all over my legs. Well, if I'd have done this in the spring, summer, or fall, I would have had the doors open and I wouldn't have had an ignition source, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But unfortunately, being the winter time, and I didn't think this scenario would unfold the way it did, the gas vapor made it all the way over to my kerosene heater and ignited. Now, if you guys have ever gone out to your barbecue and turned it on, and you're waiting for that gas to ignite, and when it finally does, it goes like whoosh. Well, that's what I heard, and I look over and there's this ball of fire coming at me. So it ignites me, and of course the puddle that I'm standing in. So now I'm on fire, the puddle's on fire, and of course, the flames are shooting up towards the car. I know I got a drop and roll to put the fire out, but my shop is like all y'all guys' shops, you know, even though it's large, there's not much open area, right? None of us have open areas. If we have large open areas, we usually fill it with a machine or a workbench or, you know, a toolbox. So there was really no large area for me to drop and roll. So I ran towards the door. I got to the door, and lo and behold, I couldn't get it open. So the fire was raging so hard, trying to get oxygen, and is trying to pull oxygen out through any nook and cranny. It had produced a vacuum, and it just sealed the door shut. So I'm pulling on the door, and of course, you know, I'm on fire, and it's pretty bad. Finally, I get my foot against the side of the wall, and I pry the door open, I break the seal, and I get out. I drop and roll, get the fire out, thank goodness. And I get up, and I look, and there's Chaos. So thank goodness, because Chaos was in the shop with me. So he came out behind me, and he's kind of looking at me like, what the heck, Daddy? You know? So I instantly get up, run in, and grab a fire extinguisher. Now, thanks to Doug over there at Metalworks Machine Shop, I added a couple extra fire extinguishers after his video about fire extinguishers and fire safety. So I had a 2.5 gallon water fire extinguisher right there at the door. I grabbed it, and I took it straight in and attacked the fire. I hit it for about 15 or 20 seconds. And the smoke and the heat was just so bad I couldn't take it. So I came back out, and that's when I called 911. And at this point, there was nothing left for me to do except just kind of, hang out and watch the building burn at that point and wait for the fire department to come.
I heard a commotion at the back gate, and I thought, that sounds like Chaos. But his bark was strange. And the best way to describe it, it was almost like a scream. And I thought, what in the world is going on? So I look out. He's at the back gate, and he's jumping up and down with his front paws about a foot off the ground. His hair's standing on end. His eyes don't look right. And he's just raising sand. So you know how you have about 100 thoughts go through your head in 10 seconds? And that's what was going on. So I go outside, and I'm thinking, well, Tom and Chaos always come through the front door. Why is Chaos at the back gate? And he is still just, having a fit. I can't see Tom anywhere. And of course, I talked to Chaos like he's human and said, Chaos, what's wrong? Where's your daddy? And I'm thinking, did Chaos run into a pack of coyotes? What's happened? So I let him in the gate. He starts pacing back and forth. Again, his hair's still standing on end. He's whining. He's still barking in that high-pitched bark. And I just can't imagine why he's so upset, and I can't see Tom anywhere. And about that time, I saw this black smoke rolling out the back of Tom's shop. And I thought, wow, Tom's wood stove sure is burning black smoke. And then I think, well, if his wood stove's going, why is the back door open? Well, it wasn't. Then I see black smoke rolling out the front, and I think, oh no. So about that time, I see Tom, and he's beside the building with a fire extinguisher in his hand. And I yelled out to him, I said, are you all right? And he said, yeah, and his voice didn't sound right. And I said, do you need the fire department? Yeah. I said, have you called the fire department? Yeah. And again, he didn't sound right. So I ran in to get my coat, and as I was running out the front door, he's running into the front door. And he had the fire extinguisher in his hand. He put it down, threw his gloves down, and I said, what has happened? And he couldn't answer me. So he turns around and runs back to the shop. I follow him, and he collapses between the house and the shop, just falls right on his bottom. So I ran up to him, and I said, are you hurt? And he pulls up his breeches leg, and all the skin's hanging off. And I said, oh, you're going to have to go to the emergency room. And then he pulls his hands up to look at his wrists, and between the gloves that he was wearing and his sweatshirt, they had started to blister really bad. And I was also seeing blistering on his forehead in between his eyebrows. Well, about that time, sheriff's deputy comes up, who happens to also be the fire chief, and EMS comes up. And I tell them, this is my husband Tom, his shop's on fire, he's got to go to the emergency room. So we live in what I would describe as a little village out in the mountains. And so these are volunteers. So we had our little village of Rural Retreat, EMS come, their little volunteer fire department, as well as a little village down the road by the name of Speedwell. Their fire department came with a tanker tank, because we don't have fire hydrants out here. So EMS, you know, they look at Tom's leg and they said, are you hurt anywhere else? And he pulls up the other britches leg, skin's hanging off of that. Well, I'd been standing on Tom's right side and they hold up his left arm, skin's hanging off that. He is burned all over. So they put him in the back of the EMS truck. They rush him to the emergency room about 20 minutes down the road. And I'm watching this volunteer fire department just organized, knew exactly what to do. They had to tear down the back roll-up door in the back of Tom's shop to get to the fire. And they had it out in no time. I cannot express how professional and thorough this volunteer fire department was. So I go to the emergency room with Tom. ER doc says that he's got second-degree burns on 54% of his body. First-degree burns on his face, his neck, and his hands. So for the past month, we've been doctoring those burns every night. It is excruciating for him to take a shower and get his bandages changed. We did visit the dermatologist this week for her to take a look, and she said that the back of one of his legs that took the brunt of the burns was on the cusp of third-degree burns. She could almost see the muscle. So he's got several more months before he completely heals, and she said he would have significant scarring. And he was hurt really, really terribly, and has been very stoic and just not complained a bit. And it's just been, it's been really hard. It's been hard to watch too.
So that's the kind of the rundown. I guess this is a good point. We'll grab the camera, we'll take you down and show you the extent of the damage and do a little walkthrough, and then we'll come back up here and close everything up. The building overall is in pretty good shape. You know, the fire is concentrated in the back corner in the automotive section, so that is good. I'll walk around here. As you can see, so you know, this would be the back corner, so you can see some of the paneling is going to have to be replaced, obviously. And of course this is where it took the brunt of it back here. So, you know, garage door didn't have a chance. But so yeah, so this will have to be replaced, and then you know, obviously the roof in that corner and some more roof section, because people that erected this thing did a crappy job and I had some roof leaks. So since the whole roof has to come off and all the siding has got to come off, because all the insulation has to be replaced, so gonna be a big job taking basically it all apart. You know, the good thing is the red iron is fine. I doubt you'll be able to see it because it's in that back corner and don't have any lights. But there's one purlin that's going to need to be replaced, so I'm not sure how well the camera is going to pick up in here. So as you can see, all my machines are fine, thank goodness. Right now they're just covered in soot and rust because of the water. Like I said, it's probably dark in these corners. I got a light, but it's not going to do very well. So if I stay up here at front, you can kind of see the damage. Like I said, all the paneling's got to come off, and you know, all new insulation. I need a whole another back door. Hopefully you can see where the light's coming through back there, where the roof is, you know, kind of foobarred. So over here, shaper still looks good. Like I said, just coating of soot, smoke, and of course all the exposed surfaces have got rust on them. So big job cleaning all that up and then get it coated. That's what I want to do first. Let's see if you guys can see, but this corner fared well. My boxes did, thank goodness. My big Starrett, my measuring stuff is all right. My nice gauge pin set is fine. Machinist boxes, they look good. So, all this area here is just, like I said, covered with soot, smoke, and what can rust is rust because of all the water they sprayed down in here. The Ebony mill, my Excello. I imagine the DRO displays are probably fried. Electronics don't like heat. So, but even though, this sight glasses are fine, so they didn't break, which is good. Oh man, I hate my collets are all rusty like that. Tooling, but like I said, they all got a coating of rust. But thank goodness the machines should be fine. Even the plastic handles are good. They didn't melt. So I'll see. Walk back here. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. Shop office, okay, just didn't catch on fire, thank goodness. But like I said, light coating of soot and smoke. I unfortunately lost a few of my pictures and decimal charts, but that stuff can be replaced. So the big effort is cleaning everything up. Forklift I think is alrighty, even though it was like right next to the car that was on fire. So that is good. Let's see if we can get in here. Like I said, I'd have to look at the video after it's done. This is the best light I got. I don't know how well you guys are going to see anything. So there's the roof, and you can see a couple of the purlins have got heat damage. They'll have to be replaced. So, but the fire extinguishers did their job, thank goodness. My toolbox is in good shape. There's not even any stress on the paint. So that's a good thing. So like I said, let's talk about the good points. So that's why I went with a metal building. And is one of the reasons is because it's fireproof. It's not going to burn. I don't keep any gas down here. The only flammable I normally have is during the winter, the kerosene. But that's it. My cabinet back here. This is where I keep all my flammable stuff, so to speak. Paint thinner, acetone, spray paint. So I keep them in a metal storage. Back here in the far corner, parts washer. I don't use anything flammable. I know a lot of people like to use kerosene, diesel fuel because it's cheap and it kind of works. I just use water-based Purple Power, so that's good. If this would have been 10 gallons of kerosene or diesel, that would have been ugly because the fire obviously was, right here. This is where the car was, on the lift in the air. So fire extinguisher there, and I got another fire extinguisher obviously at the front. But let me show you the automatic fire extinguisher. So you got this. I've got 6 of them total. There's one. Hope you guys can see that. So it had a glass valve basically down here in the bottom, so when it got hot it would break and discharge. And then you got the spinner here. She's froze right there now. But so it would discharge, and obviously shot dry chemical all the way through here, which saved my shop office because this is only one of the few things that could burn. That is wood. So And the other one is over here. You guys see that pretty good. Now we got light. So got that one over there. One by the electrical panel, one over directly in my work area where the machinist box are, and the one over there in the corner above my air compressor. So, you know, had 6 automatic fire extinguishers, and obviously they all discharged, which helped. But you know, there was just not that much to burn in here. So once the car caught on fire, that's about it. You know, the gas burned up in the tank, and then, you know, the back seat and the carpet, and you know, it was just confined to that back corner. So I am thankful, but it said it's going to be a big job. You know, I'm basically taking this down to the red iron, and I hate to think how expensive, you know, the insulation is going to be. And that back door is a top of the line Rainer insulated door, so it was $2,500 in 2019 before, you know, steel prices went through the roof, and also building materials. So I bet you that's probably going to be like a $4,000 door to replace. And then of course some of the side paneling, a couple purlins, and then, you know, half of this roof. So that'll be the big job. And once all that's done and cleaned up, then, you know, I can get the electrician in here, rewire stuff. So, you know, several of you guys have expressed interest to, you know, come help and clean up and do whatever, and I really appreciate that, and I will be taking you guys up on that. You know, I like to have a couple cleanup days, just generally get stuff cleaned up, get the machines cleaned and oiled down, so we don't have any, you know, continued rust. That would be the big thing. And you know, we'll go from there. But like I said, let me turn around here and talk to you guys. So, you know, the videos will be obviously pretty sparse going forward. I don't know how soon we'll get onto the, you know, getting onto the building. One is going to be expensive, so I gotta see where the money is going to come from. And also, you know, we're still in the middle of winter, so we still should have a few more snowstorms. So probably can't do much until spring, so to speak. But you know, I may put a video out, seeing that anybody that's close that would want to come and have a work day, and we'll come and try to tackle some of this stuff. You know, so Hilltop Machine Works is going to be closed for a while, unfortunately, but I will be obviously still on YouTube, you know, still watching you guys' videos. I'll be living through you guys vicariously and commenting, and you know, keeping you updated as I can. But it really sucks, 2023. So as you just saw the walkthrough of the shop, you know, I mentioned the fire prevention that I've taken, and also other measures. So I just want to mention the clothing that basically, you know, saved my life. So first off, footwear. I know some of you guys wear boots. They wear steel-toed boots also. So this is what these are. These are Rock Roosters, and I want to give a big shout out to Dudley Toolwright there, Robert. He mentioned these, so I picked up a pair of these boots. These are kind of like the Redbacks from Australia. What's nice about these, not only are they steel toe, is they're waterproof here. So all the gas that I was standing in and it splashed on my boot just burned off. As you can see, the boot is in great shape. So these boots actually saved my feet. So if you guys wear tennis shoes in the shop, it's probably a good time to upgrade to some boots. You know, at least steel toe for the protection, but you know, you never know when something's gonna go bad, and you know, you can save your feet. Because if these had been tennis shoes, they would have been soaked in gas and my feet would have been crispy critters. So big kudos to the boots. Now, I wear these Fire Hose Flex pants from Duluth Trading Company. Not only are they comfortable and durable and like tear resistant, but because they are made with some of that fire hose fabric. They are somewhat flame retardant, and they also are water repellent. So, you know, my legs were on fire, and hopefully you guys can see this with the light, but I mean, they're not charred, they're not burned. Obviously, you know, medic had to cut them off of me, but you know, all that gas, well, we actually got a little bit of burn right there, but all the gas that had splashed obviously did not get soaked in. It was on the, you know, outer part of the garment, and you know, the pants legs just burned that way. That's how they burned my legs. But if this had been a pair of jeans or some sort of you know, cotton blend that would have soaked through, I mean, they'd just have been, you know, totally on fire and would have really burnt me up. So if you get a chance, you know, wear better clothing in the shop, you know, just for the sake of being safe, you know. So that's kind of the challenge I am putting out there to you guys. You know, go out there to your shop and see if there's one thing you can do to make the shop and make you safer, especially if your shop is a home shop, like a garage, and is connected to your house. You know, take a look around. What can you do? Can you get that can of gas out of your shop that you've been storing in there? Can you declutter a little bit so if there was an emergency, you can get out of your shop fast, especially if it's pitch dark? Because before I got out of the shop and hit that door to get out, you know, the fire had knocked out the lights, so there was no power, so it was completely dark in there. Now, there was enough light from the fire for me to see, but it, you know, depending on the layout of your shop, can you get out of your shop if it's pitch black, you know? So that's one thing to think about, you know. So putting that challenge out to you guys, go out there in your shop and you know, make it safer. So, well, with that, I think it's going to be a wrap, and I thank you for watching. I know this video ran long, and at this point, my wife would like to say something, and then we'll give you guys the still shots.
Well, as you can see from the video, we're going to have a lot of work to do. And for those of you out there in the YouTube community, you know, I know a lot of you, your shop is everything. And for, you know, some of you, your shop is your livelihood. And for some of you, your shop is your creative outlet. It's where you go to create, where you go to have fun. And for a lot of you, it's both. And, you know, having your shop is your place to go de-stress and to decompress, and it gives you a purpose in the morning. It gives you something to do when you get up. It's something for you to look forward to. And when that is taken from you in a split second, it's devastating. It's extremely disheartening. And Tom has a lot of work to do on this shop. You know, for those of you that have followed his channel, it took him forever to build this shop. I believe it was 1.5 years. And unfortunately, the folks that built it made a lot of mistakes. And so Tom spent a great time tweaking their mistakes to get the shop where it needed to be, and got it up and running and got a little bit of business, and then this happens. And so I have started a GoFundMe for Tom. And this GoFundMe is going to help with our medical bills. We are spending a great amount every week on things like non-stick medical pads and rolled gauze and burn cream. Our insurance pays for 1 jar of burn cream a month, and we're going through 3 jars a week. So we're accruing a lot of expenses medically. And then I also want to raise money for Tom to start the rebuild of his shop, because this is important to him. And this is something that he has worked hard to achieve, and we've got a lot of, like I said, a lot of work to do. We'd also like to donate a portion of the proceeds from the GoFundMe to the Rural Retreat EMS, the Volunteer Fire Department, as well as the Speedwell Fire Department. When you live in a small village like we do, it's really, really important to support these volunteer organizations, because you never know when you need them. And when you need them, they're there, and they do a great job, and so we want to help support them as well. So we're going to put a link at the bottom of the channel. And we ask that you and the community and the family to please share, to help us move forward. And if you can find it in your heart to contribute, even a small amount would help. We'd really appreciate it. And we know that we are so lucky. Things could have been so much worse. Tom could have been hurt worse than he was. And thank goodness Chaos was unharmed. And we will have to pay it forward at some point, and we hope it's not for you. But if need be, we will pay it forward, because that's what the community does. You stick together and you help one another and you learn from one another. And we appreciate your support that you've given as long as Tom's shop has been up and running.
Well, I think we covered everything, so I guess it's a good time to wrap up the video. Like I said, I'm sorry it ran a little bit long. I appreciate you guys' support as always. The videos are going to be, sparse going forward. Once we get a chance to start making some progress on the shop, of course, I'll film that. I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll still be active in the YouTube community. Just won't be posting, obviously, videos on a regular basis. But thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.